So I didn't forget. So we have a quorum of members present. We have Chair Myers, Lisa Hanara, Don Knorr, Brandon Lang online, and Gary Schuffner online. 2 members absent, but excused.
All right, so first item on the agenda are our minutes from 1/8/2024. Does anyone have any corrections that they would like to make to the minutes? Hearing none, I accept the minutes as accurate. Next item on the agenda is electric vehicle EV charging station is at 7410 Terrace Avenue, final design. I believe that we have Kelly present to discuss this.
Right, and the designer, Keith,
And
is
Keith as
online
well.
too.
Excellent.
Yes,
All
good
right.
evening.
Kelly, if you'd like to start.
Sure. This is a design for chargers at the Terrace Avenue public parking lot, but it will be charging used only for city fleet vehicles. We have one EV currently housed at that parking lot right now for the water utility, and we didn't know we'd be getting that car so soon. But we have it, and we haven't put the chargers in yet, so we wanted to expedite this portion of our larger EV infrastructure charging design and implementation. And so Raymaker, our design engineers on this project, broke out this part of the project at Terrace Avenue parking lot for design, and we hope to put this out to bid ASAP to get those chargers installed. And it would be 2 dual chargers, so that would mean 4 level 2 chargers for city fleet in that parking lot, and also the wiring or the infrastructure to put in a 3rd charger in the future if we need it. And Keith is on the phone too. He can speak to the technical aspects or the staff comments.
Right, and Keith, I don't know, have you had a chance to go through the staff review notes?
Yeah, I did read through them, all pretty straightforward.
Was there anything that's of concern or question or that you would recommend we not include for changes?
No, the only thing that I replied back to Kelly on and mentioned, and I was just pulling up the email to see, trying to refresh my memory how she responded. The one comment about considering serving the stalls in order from east to west, starting right away with stalls 1 and 2. The only thing I pointed out and recalled from when we visited the site with Brad Hopwood, and I think maybe Brandon was there as well, or somebody from Brad's staff. Anyway, they mentioned those first stalls were commonly used by other vehicles, departments, staff members. And so they said that would remain that and just start where we showed. We did end up moving them down another stall or 2 just to avoid those large shrubs, but more importantly, the spacing of them, we would have ended up with a charger unit, the future charger unit, right where that light pole is. So staggering them one further down just lined up nicely to avoid any conflict with that spatially. But if that using that first stall or 2 is a non-issue, then those could all move down, probably just remove those large bushes, and that light pole is still a non-factor.
Yeah, I know. I don't mind circling back with Brad. I didn't realize that. I know the utility vehicle is usually parked way down at the end here. And that's the immediate need for charging. It's not that they couldn't move over to 4 and we could backfill this with what are currently gas-driven vehicles, but as we start to replace those, if we're pushing city vehicles sort of 4 through 9, members of the public may have to find 1 through 3 as being available, and that might be a bit stranded. So I don't mind circling back with Brad, but if operationally that works, does that present any challenges to you other than the bushes?
From an engineering standpoint, no, not at all.
All right. Good observation. Then was there anything else with staff review?
No, I don't think so. I mean, most of the comments were just more, clarification. Like it says there, each station, just in drawing attention to existing underground utilities and noting things for future, all good feedback that I had no disagreement or issue with, so.
Thanks for that. So unless the committee has differences on anything or additional comments to add, the recommendation from staff would be plan approval for bidding contingent upon making these edits.
I have one question, and that is the parking space 1, maybe 2, are those ever taken up by snow?
We tend to clear those of snow
Okay,
because utility is literally usually parked in.
okay. Okay, well, I will move to recommend that the common council approve the revised preliminary, no, I'm on the wrong one. I recommend that we approve the plans for bidding contingent upon resolution of staff review comments.
I'll second. All right, so we have motion from Alder Haniro to approve the plans for bidding contingent upon resolution of staff comments. And it's seconded by Don. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. So
Keith and Kelly, thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Or are you sticking around, Kelly, for something else yet?
I don't think so. I'm a little curious, but we'll see. Thank you all.
All right, thanks.
and our next item on the agenda, Bell Farm Phase 1 revised preliminary plat. And Sean, would you like to go through?
Yeah, I would say in terms of a high level overview, we've seen this a while back. But there's a change to add some lot depth along the lots that front on another way. I think by 30 feet, if I'm remembering right, to expand the stormwater pond. So previously outlot 4 that has the pond in it stopped further east than is now proposed. And there was an intention that the cul-de-sac of Serenby Street would extend further south and or connect through to the driveway in the future. And that's now just proposed with more flexibility in mind, so it may still connect in some way to Parmenter Street, but not for right now. So for right now, Serenby Street would still just stop. This would still be a temporary cul-de-sac in an easement area, not in a platted area. And those are probably the big changes that I see. So the staff recommendation pretty much is to move forward with approval of this different version of the plat, just contingent on resolution of the few staff comments. And Bruce, Kathleen, did you have, yeah, why don't you join us for starters? We have the space. Any questions with staff comments on any?
No, they're pretty straightforward and just little cleanup things, I think, that you picked up on, so.
This is an exhibit consistent with the previous exhibit that really just shows overland flood roads, overland overflow roads, basically. So when the storm sewer is beyond capacity, this is how water gets. Guts of it is here. So part of my staff recommendation was to rescind the previous approval of the previous preliminary plat. So we're only dealing with one preliminary plat at the time. I know, Lisa, I just read that you were proposing we remove that part of the staff recommendation here at the committee level.
Yeah,
So,
because I don't think it's necessary to rescind. I mean, certainly the plan commission did not make that motion when we approved, I think the next two. Actually, no, we approved this.
I
one
didn't
as
see
well.
that in any of the plan commission stuff for preliminary or final plat now. And I don't know that it matters one way or the other. At the end of the day, one
Mhm.
plat's going to be approved.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Two, we have
revising.
two approvals floating out there.
Are we revising your preliminary plat from what it was to this new one? Therefore, the other one is by nature rescinded or,
I guess,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
So I don't see a downside or an upside.
and I'm sure it has a nice revision number on it somewhere.
They're dated. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll move that we recommend to council the approval of the preliminary plat revised on January 9th, 2024 for Bell Farm Phase 1, contingent upon resolution of staff review comments.
Second,
All right, so we have a motion from Alder Nairo to revise the approve the on
It'd just be approval of
Yeah,
the
yeah, revised
plat
approval.
dated January
Yeah.
9th.
9th contingent upon resolution of staff comments.
Yep.
Okay, seconded by Don. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries, and we are on to agenda item number 4, Bell Farm Phase 1 revised final plat.
So this is pretty much the same thing for the same reason, extra lot depth, extra pond area. Here it's better shown that the cul-de-sac is not part of this plat proposal, so it's just part of this future outlot right now. And this was a previous condition of approval of the same plat that basically just said when all of these offsite easements are recorded, that document number will be shown here. This recommendation is just to make this shape match this shape. I don't think there was anything really substantive, just verifying a distance here. That probably is already done. The rest of it's straightforward. Any questions from the development team or Bruce here? No? Questions from the committee on any of this?
fire trucks come down that road and have to back out.
Come down here internally, there's a loop.
Oh, there is an alley
road
through
here
there. Okay, never mind that. Yeah. Okay,
And another driveway out to Carmen for that matter.
Yeah, it might show a little better on the previous sheet, maybe. I'm sorry, the second sheet of the file. Right there, there's some easements that
okay.
show.
I'll move to approve this one.
I-
Staff recommendations.
That would be great. I do have a question though, and that is the council approval on August 15th included, well, surprisingly did not include resolution of staff comments, so that's good. But it did have, its number one was execution of the Wisconsin Department of Transportation jurisdictional transfer number 374.
That's done.
That's done.
Then my questions, Jan.
And we'll take your, again, from staff recommendation, the rescinding part.
Yep.
Okay, so could you just repeat the motion?
I move that we approve with resolution of staff recommendations and send it to council for their approval.
Well, can Sean
Yeah,
show
let me
the
back up
agenda?
to
'Cause
the
it's got
agenda
kind of
so-
a big one.
Yeah,
So everyone can see it. at the same
Big one.
So this is on the final plat. Just make it a little bit wider. So the staff recommendation included resolution of staff review comments, those few. As I had mentioned, including in plat note 10, the document number of the easements. Receipt by the city of recorded covenants, and conditions, and if separate, other covenants related more to. This. Oh, the standard sort of right to farm law and distance from an airport and deep sewers and all those things that are in the city developer agreement. Approval of plan drawings, approval of the city developer. Because they go hand in glove. The plans, plat, city developer agreement are all one thing, really. And to have it all ready to go by March 31st. Is that an issue on your end?
No, we're gonna be ready pretty quickly.
That's what I think. Okay.
And none of those 2 through 6, none of those is done?
We don't have recorded copies of these things yet, no.
So that
We
would
don't have
all be
approval of
part
the
of the
plan.
motion and
Yeah.
all of those items.
So this would be embedded in your motion, Don.
Okay, that's good. For the agenda items.
Yes, right.
That are yet to be resolved.
I will second Don's motion.
I think I already did.
Oh, yeah, you did. You're right. You
I
did.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
wrote it down, maybe I just thought I was
Yeah.
do it.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Sorry, I'm I as well.
All right. All those opposed, hearing none. Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, Bell Farm Phase 1 revised plans.
We've got a wildly different scale here. So there weren't really many staff review recommendations on this either. Was there anything jumped out at you, Bruce, that you thought like we should talk
No.
about?
No, it was pretty minor
I kind of thought too. yeah,
text
this is all-
overlaps and just clean up stuff.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, it was a few legibility issues. Pretty minor label. Questions from committee members on the plans? If not, I just put the staff recommendation up on the screen. I trust we would also want to remove rescinding
Mhm.
prior plan approval from a while back.
So you're redundant here in receipt of the city of recorded copy of the covenants. We just did that in the last one.
Yeah, so we don't want the plat without that. We don't want the plans without that.
Okay. Okay, that's fine then. We just wanted to make sure that we weren't redundanting or something.
It's kind of redundantly redundant.
Be very personal. Ideally, there'd be one set of things that,
Yeah, I know.
All this
It'd
applies.
be, yeah, once you have them, you have.
Yeah.
them. That's okay.
Yeah, so this one's basically focused on a different part of the covenants to restore any specialty pavement in the private streets if we disturb it because of future utility work,
Okay.
but it'll all be buried.
okay, so I'll move that the committee approve the revised plan drawings for public improvements with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of the 4 items shown on the screen, and that if these items are not completed by March 31st, 2024, then the approval is void.
Second that motion. So we have a motion to approve with the deferred effective,
Revised final.
revised final plan, items 1 through 4. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. All right, item 6. Bell Farm Phase 1 Revised City Developer Agreement.
And we've had several versions of this floating around. The most recent one is in the packets. Don't think there's anything really substantive. There are a couple of fill in the blank. Apologizing for anyone looking at the screen right now. About to get
I was gonna say, not a speed reader, so.
yeah, keep up,
Slow it down,
keep up.
come on.
So paragraph 15 has some need of revising numbers because the plat size changed a little bit. The number of units in the plat changed a little bit. So I'll be asking Abby just for updated numbers on that. Paragraph 19 is about sewer stuff, so I'll have to update that too because MMSD will change their determination based on having fewer lots now. So that number will be a little bit different than we had previously calculated. The one question of substance from a policy perspective is we typically in our city developer agreements ask for the developer to deposit 5% of the construction amount for the construction phase services of your engineer. But on the really big projects, like we just did with Red Tail Ridge, we reduced that to 3.5% because it's still a fairly large number. So one of my recommendations baked in here is to reduce that number from 5 to 3.5, consistent with what we did on Red Tail Ridge.
I'm assuming you have no objection.
We have no objections.
And it's just a deposit, right? So what it is either, you'll
Right.
pay us a little extra or we'll give you your money back.
Right.
Nobody gets hurt either way. It's an initial guess. But I think it's a better initial guess on these big projects. So that's one of the policy questions in my recommendation here. And I just highlighted that it's consistent with what we did recently with a different development. I don't think there were any big questions. Did either of you notice anything here?
No, not when I looked through it. I didn't notice anything.
So short of some fill in the blanks that I don't yet have calculations for, I think we're in pretty good shape.
The original approval motion in council included receipt from WDNR of permits for water and sanitary sewer construction. Is that
We
done?
have both of those.
Okay.
Yep.
So looking at your motion, it looks like just comparing this to the original, just paragraph 1 and paragraph 3 are new.
Yeah, because Abby had gone through this, I think, the last time, but now that the plat is different, she'll have to go through it again. The parkland stuff. I'll have to go through it again for sewer fees. The rest, I think, is, yeah, the same. Other than this brand new issue, this is where I highlighted
Mhm.
reducing that initial deposit.
So our motion would be to recommend acceptance to council.
Well, actually, and finance committee, I
And
forgot
finance
because
committee.
there are dollars
Okay, and
involved in
finance
this, it
committee.
should be
Okay.
both.
Oh, the revised. You removed it, so I can't see it exactly.
There you go, Don.
Revised city developer agreement 22-125 CC 8/15/23.
Subject to city attorney review and approval. Is that needed, Sean?
I usually just put that in there so he knows to look at it, but
Okay.
he's been through it. This is very template kinds
Yeah.
of stuff.
I'm assuming it is, so. With the additional comments included in the motion. Right.
They'll take out the staff comment part about rescinding the previous conditional approval.
Correct. Well, I made the motion. We still do not have a second.
All right, I'll second your
Okay.
motion and all those in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And that brings us to the end of the Middleton phase 1.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So. Next item on the agenda, testing service agreements. So we have a memo from Sean Olsrud and a summary.
Right, we do this every year. We try to get blanket agreements so that when we need these folks, we can call them up and we already know the terms and pricing. It's similar to our general engineering services, except with testing and soil exploration services. So these are pretty standard template agreements as well. And we have 3 firms that we typically work with. So we try to, at the beginning of a project, assign a firm to work with us throughout that project. So we're not overloading any one firm.
Rotating selection, I would assume.
We sort of just parcel it out at the beginning of the year and say,
Okay.
these folks should work on that project and these folks on this other project.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't say it's equal, but at least we're trying to be fair.
Sean, the fee schedule on page, starting on page 91, that'll be filled in for each
Right, so,
separate
yeah,
agreement.
so, oops, sorry. The fee schedule on page 91 becomes kind of this summary. Each individual company will just write their unit prices into the fee
Into the
schedule.
fee schedule, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Sean just kind of pulls it all together so we can more easily find it. The agreement itself just ends up looking like that, but all these numbers get.
Yeah, per project. So
Right. Yep.
how deep is the hole?
What's that?
How deep is the hole?
Yeah. It matters.
I think we reached rejection.
When we hit rock, you've gone to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our recommendation is just to recommend finance committee and common council approve all three of these agreements. Get them ready to go.
And these have all been by the city attorney already, right?
Well, he would have seen last year's version of this
Yeah.
thing. I think the changes this year were on the discrimination clause. We changed it a little bit because some of our language had been outdated. And we changed our city attorney name. So. Was it.
Again, needs approval by council and.
And finance.
And recommend approval to pass on to city council and finance for approval. Recommend. approval.
I will second Don's motion to recommend approval to the finance committee and to common council. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. The ayes have it. And next is Parmenter Street reconstruction, release of water and sewer utility easement interests in new right-of-way at parcels 3 and 4.
Right, and we went round and round between our consultant and the city attorney on different documents, and we just couldn't find a way to support those. He didn't object to us pursuing this one. He advised us that in his opinion, it's unnecessary and it doesn't do anything for us, and I can appreciate that. But MSA is stuck in a different place where they're trying to check boxes that WISDOT would require, and we have significant WISDOT funding on this project. So this was the best that we could do to come up with this release of easement rights in area that will be acquired as public right of way, where we don't need or want an easement anyway, but the utilities won't be changed at all. So this is just recommending council approval of the resolution to affect the easement, release of easement interests.
okay, well, I will move that the Public Works Committee, acting as the Board of Directors of the Water and Sewer Utilities, recommend that the Common Council approve the release of public utility easement interest document per the resolution prepared by the city attorney.
Yeah, really well. You read. I'll second.
All right. We have a motion to recommend to have the committee acting as the Board of Utilities for the Board of Directors of the Water and Sewer Utilities recommend that Common Council approve the release of public utility easement interest document per the resolution prepared by the city attorney. And we have a second as well.
Yep.
So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, future meeting agenda items, no discussion or action. Brandon, do you have any topics you would like to have the committee consider?
No, I don't at this time. Thank you.
Carrie, do you have any topics?
I do not.
Lisa, do you have any topics?
I guess I would suggest we discuss the, what we learned at the chairs and vice chairs meeting.
Okay,
We do a lot of it, but
yeah. All right. And
Nothing.
I have nothing as well, so we've reached the end of that agenda item, and we have reached the end of our noticed agenda. The meeting is adjourned.
And I'll just add, for those who tossed out ideas at the last meeting, I wrote them down. The only reason they're not on is because this one was starting to get really long. I didn't realize we would go through it so quickly, but I was a little scared when we got to 9, you know.
G8.
Thanks, Sean.
We'll get to that.
I noticed the camera's not zooming in on the speakers.
Oh, someone may have pushed the button. There's a little target button on this remote control
Okay.
that I think toggles that.
I think it's a big improvement.
So yeah, maybe next time remind me if I'm gonna push the
Yeah,
button.
honestly, I didn't even. So just.
I'm looking at all sorts of things, but not that. All right, have a good evening all.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.